Hello and welcome back to our Women's History Month talk. I'm so happy to be here right now. Y'all don't know how much joy this brings me. Right here in front of us, we have the amazing spirit, mother, woman, social activist, and athlete, and I did say it in the right order. So please take some time to show some love to my lovely Gwen Berry. How you doing today, love?
Hey girl, thank you for having me. I'm doing great. How are you?
I am awesome. I am so happy that we can actually have this talk and, in a sense, spread the information that I honestly feel like a lot of our women, a lot of our Black women need to hear, but don't necessarily get to hear. Because for the most part, I think we're in a time frame where social media and the production of it all kind of blinds people from what's really happening, what it really feels like, what people are really going through, and how they actually get through it. So before we go anywhere else, I want you to tell us a little bit about yourself, what you feel to be important about you, and the journey that you feel that you're on currently.
So Gwen Berry, two-time Olympian. I do the women's hammer throw for Team USA. I am a mother, a sister, a friend, I'm a mentor, a coach, a student. I feel like I wear many hats. And I feel like the journey that I'm on in life is just rediscovering and redefining who I am and who I will be in my professional world outside of sport. So, what's needed of me, my voice, my platform, my bravery, outside the field of play, because I feel like we are marginalized, especially athletes. Sometimes we're just marginalized in this small box of only being athletes. But what people don't understand is it's so much more to us. It's so much more to be heard, to be learned, to be understood, that people don't really get to see that side because they just want us to just play. And we got to kill that narrative, for sure.
See you guys as a level of production and not actually people who found themselves on these journeys for many, many, many reasons outside of, I love sports. Kind of diving down that lane a little bit, can you share with me where you found, I guess, your why in the beginning of all of this?
I feel like I was really lucky. I think I had my why, at a really young age where a lot of people don't. As everybody knows, I got pregnant at the age of 14. And I feel like that really, really just changed my perspective in life and gave me my why. I know a lot of people, they go into their 20s and, probably after college and they still don't have the motivation. But me being the firstborn, sibling, the firstborn grandchild, having the firstborn kid in my family, I had plenty of whys at a really, really young age. And I think that set the standard and the tone for how I thought, how I moved, and the decisions I made going forward in my life journey.
That you had so many powerful whys to start your journey off. I can only imagine that there were a ton of why nots and you should nots floating around at the same time. How did you navigate that? How did you stay focused on your actual purpose and why and kind of filter out the rest of the mess?
One thing about me is I am very diligent in getting what I want. Sometimes I get it doing things I don't want to do. Sometimes I get it doing things that I do want to do. And most times I get it doing things that are really hard to do. But I don't know, I feel like I just set my bar. And I always remember, like, when you have the naysayers, especially being a Black woman in America, you're always told no, or you're always told what you should do, how you should look, how you should behave. And, I think for the most part of my life, I kind of did fall under that status to where I was the typical oppressed mentally, physically, and emotionally Black woman in America. But then I feel like, just deep down inside of me, because I always strive to get what I want, I knew that couldn't nobody tell me too much, you know what I'm saying? Or couldn't nobody bring that negative, just the negative energy, spirit, in me into pursuing what I knew what was best for me, or for my child, or for my family, or for my friends, or for my, athletic career. So I was smart enough to hold on to the fact that I know I can get what I want. I know I can be who I want to be. I know for sure I can do what I want to do. It's just I had to make sure that when I was in spaces to where I had to deal with things I didn't want to deal with, or I could be bold and beautiful in myself, I navigated that playing chess, not checkers.
Oh, ooh. And it's funny because you saying chess really makes me think of how much we really have to strategize our moves in this world. Navigating.
Unfortunate, but it's true.
And it's daily.
Daily.
It's a daily thing of waking up and having to actively choose yourself. Actively choose steps and moves and decisions that can benefit you with the least amount of, I guess, repercussion on the other end. Because for us, repercussion could be around the corner even when it's not really for us.
For sure.
It's beautiful that you bring up chess. And because of that, I want to ask, when you were kind of like navigating that chess game, if you will, were there any points where you feel like you had to change your strategy to really get where you were trying to go? Or did you feel like at some point you had to change your why to get where you had to go?
Absolutely. I feel like another thing about Black women is we can adapt, right? A lot of people, I feel like, because we're off the spectrum so much, like I always say this, we're neither male or white. So we're at the bottom of the spectrum. I feel like we are born to be able to adapt, to slide into these slots on the spectrum where we're not welcome. So I feel like I was always able to adapt. Being an athlete, you always have to adapt to certain things, certain situations in the field of play, off the field of play, traveling to where you gotta go. It's always adaptation, especially for Black women. So I do feel like sometimes I had to change my why in my mind, not in my heart, but in my mind for sure. It's just like, okay, you want to get to here. Are you going to deal with this? Are you going to deal with that? Are you going to put up with this? Are you going to speak on that? So you always have to understand, like, what is my goal? Where am I trying to get to? And the hurdles that I face to get to my goal, they change every day. Like you said, we have to choose ourselves every day. So what comes with that? The hurdles, the changing of the whys, just strategizing. Because we belong in these spaces, and if we don't get there, then there's not going to be room for other women like us. So we have to get there no matter what.
Literally, no matter what. And the positions we are put in and then succeed.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't understand it. I don't get it. I just know that there's something magical about it and how we do it. And I'm grateful even be able to be on a journey like this.
Because we are magical. We are the magic. We are the creators. We are the magic. And that's why we're able to do it. Like I said, it's unfortunate that we have to do it because we are so hated so much because we're so powerful, but we do. And we're making a way.
Man. Because you said that, you brought up something that kind of struck a chord with me when you said that you had to change your why at times, mentally, but not in your heart. How did you keep those two, not so much separate, but how did you manage to shift one and not the other? Because matters of the heart sometimes can get tough.
Oh yeah. Looking back at it, I don't know, like I said, I wore so many hats my whole life that it was something that just came natural to me, I believe. Like, okay, you're dealing with this situation with a coach or a significant other, and in order to get here, I kind of have to deal with this, right? I kind of have to be in this space, especially with a coach, right? I was dealing with a coach for 10 years, and the respect, the morality of that person, I just couldn't get with. Like, my younger self was okay, but as I got older, I'm just like, this is nuts. Like, I can't get with this. However, this is the best situation for me at the time. And this man is crazy enough to be here to get me to where I need to be. So it's just like, okay, so am I risking everything? Or can I deal with just this one little man and get everything I need to get for my family? Like, my family or one man. You can combat one man for your people. That's easy. You can go toe to toe. So it's like, because I had to think of the bigger picture, it was easier for me. And of course, you do have to separate the two. You know, absolutely. You can't combine the two, or else, you know, the world that you care about so much will be, you know what I'm saying, I don't know, it just will be like affected by the negativity that you have to face every day. You definitely want to keep them separate because you got to protect your family, but you got to go to war. You see what I'm saying? So, yeah, you just gotta battle it out.
Go to war, and it's how we have to do it at the same time.
All the time.
All the time.
All the time.
And the reason why that really stuck out to me, especially what you're saying right now, is because I know that there are people out there that are existing currently as we speak who are getting lost in the steps that it has to take to get to where they're trying to go.
Right.
And losing sight of their actual purpose, losing sight of their true why, because the situation is making them feel like they have to compromise so much of themselves.
Oh. That's constant, yes.
It never stops. And now there are situations where there's certain levels of compromise within yourself that you can't stand for, right? So we have to be able to remove ourselves. But it's being able to tap into that true understanding of your purpose, to know how long you need to weather a certain storm, how long you need to deal with certain things and certain people, so that you can then break away from all of that and never have to look back.
Absolutely.
That is so hard for so many people to do.
And I think it derives from the fact that a lot of people, especially nowadays, I feel like a lot of people don't know their why because they got this in their hand and they paying attention to everybody else's why.
Oh.
Or they not reading enough books to understand who they are, to understand why do I need a why. You know what I'm saying? How do I acquire this why? Like they don't have the self-knowledge or, you know, the self-teachings to say, I am this originally. I'm not this slave. I'm not this monkey. I'm not this dog. I'm not this coward. Who am I really? And then you begin to understand your why, because you know your history. And that's the problem. That's where, especially Black women, Black people, that's where we get lost all the time. Like, you see these kids going into high school and graduate, and then they're lost. Or they can probably get to college, and then after that, they're lost. Because we don't have the proper means, resources, access to education, and true self-knowledge of ourselves to even be motivated to want to know a why for ourselves independently. And then independently to help our community as a collective. So that's where the whys get misconstrued. Me, like I said, I had it early. I was always around my family. I was raised in a big house full of people. I had my son early. I got my ass kicked and was like, you got to get into shape. I rode a bike back and forth to Sonics every day when I was fucking 14 years old. So like I understood it at a young age without the self-knowledge, without the, you know what I'm saying? But now that I have it, it makes it even easier to fight these battles that I have to fight every day. You see what I'm saying?
Definitely.
So I think the why is lost in social media, European education, you know, just propaganda, just all the stuff that people pay attention to more than themselves.
That is so deep, because that just makes it really solidifies the fact, not the thought, not the concept, not the opinion, the fact that the original why within everybody has to truly come from within yourself.
For sure.
And
Absolutely.
You can't get that if you don't even know who you are, how you function, how you're allowed to feel. There's so many layers as to why I feel like what you're saying is absolutely correct. There's so many people who don't really get to access their why. Not because they don't want to, not because they don't have a desire to understand themselves or their purpose, but there's so many layers that they have to break through first to even understand what their actual purpose is. That's a conversation.
For sure. I mean, if you're told your whole life what to do, right, with this European institutionalized education, you're told your whole life what to do, how to think, how to, figure out an equation, how to solve a problem. You get the answer, you can get the right answer, but because you solved it wrong or your own way is wrong, right? So you're told constantly over and over and over again who you are. And then you're not taught about anybody that looked like you, that had any type of influence on the world, right?
Exactly.
Then your parents got to work because, economically, you have absolutely nothing. So you don't have those conversations with them. They don't know who they are because they can't read the book because they work in graveyard shifts and everything. You see what I'm saying? It goes back to the root of foundation of the fact that because we are not unified enough, because we don't have our own enough, because we felt like, being integrated with these white people granted us freedom, we lost who we are. So we're lost all the time. I hear it all the time, especially from black men, a little bit from black women, but black women have groups. Like we have girlfriend groups where we can talk and express ourselves. But I hear it a lot from black men that they lost all the time. All the time.
Because the reality of it is we don't have to be lost. But to even get to a point to say that to yourself, you have to be allotted a certain level of access, a certain level of access to understanding that sometimes people just don't have.
Yeah.
Like
we don't know. We don't know.
Yeah.
But we don't know.
At all. Like the amount of times I've heard people say things like, yeah, this hurts internally, but I'm too busy to deal with that. Like I gotta go to work. I gotta go to class. And I'm like, you do understand that is like, you're literally verbalizing how many blockades you have to go through just to be able to be in touch with yourself and what you feel. To be able to experience a moment. You have to schedule it in.
And you really don't even get back to it. Like you be like, okay, I'm gonna deal with this grief after I handle this.
Never get a chance
and you really don't even deal with it. Yeah. It's sad.
So the concept of the lost, it makes so much sense because there are so many things that everybody has to focus on that doesn't allow them the space or the time to really find themselves or to be true to themselves. But we could go on this route all daggone day,
right.
Which honestly is not an issue for me. But I do want to ask one last question. I know that you are big into the power of your words, the power of your words within your own life, the power of your words when you're speaking to other people. So do you have anything that you say to yourself, like any affirmations that you would like to share with others who might need to strengthen themselves in that moment, in that way, whenever they feel they need to?
I think just after dealing with a lot, especially last year, losing, 3 people that were really close to me, I just tell myself that, and it may sound cliche, but honestly, literally, I control my life. Every decision that I make, every decision that I fail to make, if I fail to plan, if I fail to, execute, that alters my life. So I am very When I think of anything, when I plan anything, when I imagine anything, I always say, if you want this, really, if you want this, you gotta work and go get it. You got it. You got it. Because you are literally in control of everything you do in your life. Everything. Every decision that you make is up to you, and that will change your path, good or bad. So I always just tell myself, come on, Gwen, you got it. Again, if that's what you want, go get that. And it's going to be a lot of things in the way, but go get that. But know that when you get there, it's going to be a ripple effect. See the other side. And a lot of people be like, oh, you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't see the other side. You should focus on the past. No, see the other side. Because when you see the other side, it makes it easier to run through the hurdles that may stand in your way. Because that's what you're looking at. You're looking at the other side. And go get what you want. Go get it. Go get it.
You are just a phenomenal individual. And I thank you for everything that you're doing, because the reality that we currently exist in, we need more of you.
Yeah.
We need more of you.
Thank you.
Everything that you are currently doing, everything that you are getting ready to do, I am excited for, because I know whatever it is, the world needs it. So with that being said, thank you for speaking with me. You are a blessing and a half, and I can't wait to do more of these with you.
I know, we need to do this, for real.